Hello, I'm Javan Lockhart, therapist for marriage, individual, and family counseling at Healing Hearts of Indy at the north side of Indianapolis at 96th and Keystone. This is the first video in a 4-part series on free therapy techniques, describing how we use them in the recovery process, their importance, and how recovery works down the road, dealing with any issues you might be having. And today I'd like to talk about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? There's a lot going around these days on positive thinking, on recovery, on empowerment, on strengths-based. If you're a social worker or a therapist or a clinician of any kind, this is some of the basic training you receive as a therapist around how to see people, clients, and patients in their environment and understand people uniquely and individually as things work well for them, rather than focusing on what goes wrong. This is a very helpful technique, and today I'd like to discuss that empowerment and strengths-based technique using mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to think and understand what you think automatically, how and why, and what that thought process means to you. And that may sound very abstract and convoluted. However, it is very effective and can really change your ability to make better decisions and understand yourself better and also people around you. So mindfulness is the ability to think about what you think. Naturally, every day, in your daily process, whatever you might be going through, if there's a major crisis going on in your life, or you're just naturally frustrated with things and need a change and want to change, or even if there's nothing going on and would like to improve your thought process and improve your life, thinking about what you think is very helpful. This can be accomplished in several different ways. Some are through meditation, prayer, journaling, reading on self-help and therapy books. But the most important thing to remember is focusing on how it is you come to your decision-making process, on how to react to what you think and on how you react to things in your life. One of those, for example, could be an automatic thought or feeling. Everyone has automatic thoughts and feelings. We don't control the initiation process of how we think and feel. Thinking goes on all day long, even in our dreams while we sleep, and we can't control or stop that process. But what we can do is take a moment, take the time to think about why we think something, without judgment, without resentment, without blaming, without the automatic minimizing or catastrophizing about a certain situation. So for example, if I'm driving down the road and suddenly there's an accident occurring in front of me and there's police cars, I want to pay attention, close attention, to what my thoughts are around what's happening, whether my heart rate goes up, how I'm physically feeling, what am I thinking. Some of the automatic obvious things might be my heart rate might go up, I might be worried about what's going on, I might worry about my own safety and around the drivers around me who are coming up behind me and hoping they slow down, and see the accident and the emergency vehicles in the way. But those are just some of the first automatic thoughts. What's important about noticing how I'm feeling in that moment is to take the time to be present in that moment. And that means not just giving in to the decision-making process about being worried, anxious, concerned, overly excited, but to be able to calm myself down to not be overly fearful, to not be overly anxious, and to not be overly frightened, so that I can make a decision that is helpful to myself, and even better yet, helpful to others. If I'm too frantic and I'm not mindful about what I'm thinking and what's going on within my body, I may be able to overreact and not be helpful to myself and others. I might become overly anxious, overly fearful, and not be able to slow down in time, not be able to react in time, maybe not be able to help or warn others. So that's a small example of mindfulness. If there's something going on in your life that is a crisis situation or a catastrophe of some type, where you've had a loss or a betrayal or some type of negative life event that's influencing you, it's important to be mindful and to think about what you're thinking about without the judgment or minimizing or catastrophizing. Being able to be present in every moment of your life around what you think about. For example, if there's been an affair, or if you and your family members are not getting along well enough, reacting to that from a fear-based place is not being mindful. When we have fear, a lot of what goes on in our body says that we must overreact, and that can lead to some poor decision making, or can lead to life events that can really create more negative situations on top of an already negative situation. So for example, if there's a fearfulness around an affair, or the fact there might be a separation or an impending divorce coming up, how you react and think about that has a huge impact on your health and your ability to make good choices for yourself in the future and right now. So being able to think about how you're reacting and to take that process over in a more present state of being can be helpful. This can be done through a therapist's office, through a religious affiliation, on your own, with meditation, with prayer, whatever it may take for you to journal and slow down that thought process, to be mindful and conscious about everything that you are feeling and thinking. Some of that work, to be able to be aware of what you're thinking and feeling, can be very uncomfortable. It's not easy to actually focus on what those self-talk tapes are about in your mind, because a lot of that we've been avoiding all of our lives and allowing that to be on what I call autopilot, where we feel something and make a quick decision based on that feeling and that feeling alone very quickly. And we don't have enough information about ourselves inputted into that decision-making process when we make quick decisions like that every day. Because every day we make decisions about brushing our teeth and getting dressed for work, or taking care of our children and our families, or talking with our friends. Those are very automatic things. But if you took the time to think about how you were reacting and what that means to you, and if you can understand why that is, it's very helpful to be able to change it if it needs to be changed, and be able to understand yourself better if you need more information and you want a different outcome. Mindfulness is not about hopeful or wishful thinking or imagery or wishing you had a better house or a better life. It's really about knowing yourself. Knowing when you judge yourself harshly. That could be something that's happening, or knowing that you're very afraid of something. That could be something that's happening, very fear-based thinking, without really understanding where that's coming from or why. So mindfulness is not about making ego-based decisions or fear-based decisions. Mindfulness is understanding if a reaction and a thought or a feeling is coming from fear, anger, anxiety, happiness, peacefulness, joy, any of those things. And being able to focus on all those things equally without judgment is very, very important in being able to process your own information about how you work and why you work and what matters to you. It can be very insightful and cause several epiphanies about who you are and why you think the way you think. That is very different from coming from a place of autopilot that says, I don't have time to be present in the moment, there's too much going on, and everyone has a few minutes throughout the day to stop, to take a deep breath, to relax for a moment, to detach for a moment just from the original feelings you're having, and to be able to take the time to really think about what you think about. And we'll go into more detail on this next week and discuss some other therapy techniques that can be helpful in being more mindful and present in your life. So mindfulness is very helpful in whether you're trying to make a change because you're unhappy or would like more peace and joy in your life, need to give back more to your community if you want to volunteer, if you feel like you just don't have time for parenting, to be a better spouse, or just to know yourself better. If you're trying to find out what would make you happier, what would make you more effective, what would make your life feel more fulfilled, mindfulness is a very helpful technique in order to calm the body and slow the brain in order to really connect to yourself and understand who you are. Thank you for watching. Please follow my blog at healingheartsofindy.com. If you need to make an appointment, you can reach me at 317-224-3211, or you can reach me at my email. That would be Javan, Javan, at healingheartsofindy.com.